We rely on routine, on the predictability of the people around us. But what if the person you trusted most in your quiet community was a shadow, a master of deception, hiding a history of violence? Welcome to Shadow Lines. I'm Alex. Today we delve into the shattering story of Sarah, who lived next door to a seemingly ideal family man for a decade, only to discover he was a convicted murderer. Sarah, thank you for sharing the chilling details of how this truth fractured your entire sense of reality.
Thank you for having me. The hardest part wasn't the shock of the crime. It was the realization that I had spent 10 years sharing my life with a ghost, a perfect stranger who smiled, loaned tools, and participated in our community events while concealing a history of unspeakable violence. It made me question every human interaction I've ever had.
Let's establish the context. Describe your neighborhood and specifically the character of this neighbor. Let's call him Mark. What was the quality of his facade?
Our neighborhood was the definition of safe suburban America. Mark was the epitome of the perfect neighbor. He was a successful engineer, a father, coached the Little League team, and meticulously maintained his house. We saw him every day. My children played in his yard. He was a master of the banality of evil.
For 10 years, the mask was perfect. What was the single tiny crack in that facade that allowed the terrifying truth to begin seeping out?
It was entirely accidental, a moment of digital curiosity. My husband and I were researching a local campaign. I found an old local newspaper archive from a decade before he moved here. The headline was small, buried, but unmistakable. Man sentenced in manslaughter case.
When you first read that headline, what was your initial, instinctive reaction? Did you dismiss it as a coincidence, or did the paranoia take hold?
I went completely cold. My immediate thought was, it has to be another person. But the article included details, the specific street name, the occupation that matched. It was a conviction for second-degree manslaughter, followed by a quiet release and relocation. It was a man who had served his time and deliberately chosen to conceal his violent history from everyone around him. It made me question every human interaction I've ever had.
You had lived next to this man for a decade. What steps did you take next to verify this devastating truth while managing your escalating fear?
We were terrified to call the police immediately. We spent 2 weeks doing deep, agonizing research. Every little thing confirmed it. The feeling was like watching a psychological horror movie where you are the only one who knows the monster lives next door. The worst part was watching him play with his kids, a visual that was now completely contaminated.
That period between discovery and action must have been agonizing. How did the mere knowledge of his past capacity for violence alter your daily physical reality?
Our house became a prison. We stopped letting our kids play in the front yard. We taped over the peephole. Every time I heard his lawnmower, my heart would jump. He was just a friendly neighbor, but now he was a psychological time bomb. I realized that his kindness wasn't genuine. It was a perfectly constructed shield designed to keep his secret safe. The betrayal was that the safety of our home, our sanctuary, was built on a lie.
The central betrayal here is the lie of the safe community. How did this event permanently change your perception of people and your basic trust in the social contract?
I realized that the veneer of normalcy is incredibly thin. Now, when I meet someone new, I don't see their face. I see the unexplored darkness that could be lurking behind their eyes. I constantly search for the fissure. I no longer trust the smiling face, the perfect lawn, or the gentle wave. I learned that monsters don't live under the bed, they live right next door.
What was the final outcome for Mark and for your family? Did you eventually move?
Mark and his family eventually moved away quietly. We stayed for 2 more years trying to recapture the feeling of safety, but it was impossible. The house still felt contaminated. We eventually sold the house. The biggest loss was not the house, but the loss of innocence about the world.
Sarah, thank you for sharing this terrifying and insightful look at the perfect facade. Your story is a profound reminder that we rarely know who truly lives next door. You've been listening to Shadow Lines. Join us next week when we discuss the